Welcome everybody to the September 17th, 2024 DVMUG Zoom meeting. I'm Peter Weiler and I will be your host today. We will be using our normal format of starting with Apple News, and there will be a chance for people's interaction and feedback on those news items, and then we'll move on to videos related to Apple in some way. And hopefully you'll find them interesting and want to make comments or ask questions related to them. So let's get started with the news.
We might want to have one small announcement. I just realized we didn't talk about this, but iOS Boot Camp is going to be Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning at the office and also via Zoom. And the topic will be messages. Anything else you want to say about that, Rick? Rick might be muted.
Yeah, Rick
That's
is.
okay. It was in the new, it was in the, I just want to mention that, remind you. Go ahead.
Thank you. And the previous meeting of this was at the office and on Zoom was very successful. So I recommend any people who are interested in the Messages app, and that's where we get our texts and whatnot, yeah, attend. Will that be this coming Saturday or when?
Yes, Saturday, 10 o'clock at the office till noon, or maybe a little longer, whatever it needs to be.
And it'll be simulcast on
Zoom,
Zoom?
same link. I'll send out a link to the meeting on Friday.
Okay, well, that's great. So let's go ahead and get started with this week's news. Actually, I'd like to just comment before we kick this off that kudos are due to John Sobrero for last week's meeting, which immediately followed Apple's, what did they call it? Their Glow meeting, um, which just put out a ton of information, new products, updates, and so forth. And John somehow seemed to capture just about uh, all of the important items um, in that news portion. So
Just in
following
case you
that,
didn't, for the people who didn't, I put a ton of links to articles about what happened in the Sunday MailChimp, and almost nobody read any of them. So you need to go check your Sunday email for all the announcements that they made and what they didn't say and all the details about what happened.
yeah, that Sunday MailChimp is an excellent resource, and I agree. Take a look at it, even if you don't have time to check it out thoroughly. Um, Good stuff there. Okay, so news for today. Apple cuts greenhouse gas emissions in half. Uh, this somehow hit Apple's newsroom, and yet it came out, I guess, in April. But it is an interesting article that Apple produced a environmental progress report, and it was showing that they had reduced their emissions by 55% from 2015. And they're really making progress towards a goal of becoming carbon neutral in 2030. Um, the article is pretty thorough. So there were several different bullet points that were mentioned. You can see some of them there: paving the way for recycled critical materials, slashing manufactured emissions with suppliers. And I could go on reading, but you can read them for yourself. Um, those are the first five, and there are five more. Um, and each of these is discussed in that news announcement. So take a look if you're interested in this area. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, what's amazing about that to me is that as they're leaning into AI, which we know to be extremely energy intensive, um, driving the data centers filled with these AI chips, they must be powering them from renewable sources
Mm. Right. Yes.
or buying carbon offsets. I'm not,
Yeah. Evidently, running a data center uses an incredible amount of energy. Uh, it's surprising to me, but that's what I've read, and so to be able to do that in a green way can make a big difference in terms of struggling to get some kind of control over what's going on with the climate.
yeah.
Okay. There is a new Mac malware strain. This one, unfortunately, the bad guys can do this remotely. They can get into your computer, steal data, actually install stuff. They're using a Trojan horse. It's called HZRat. Um, they've gone ahead and used a VPN app to get into people's computers. I think there might be other routes that they use. And so it's not a good thing, but the chief analogist for Intego, Joshua Long, says to protect your Mac, and he advises something that you've heard us say before: always download new apps directly from the Mac App Store, or if it's not available there, the original developer's own site. And be sure you feel pretty trusting of that original developer. Any questions or comments? Okay.
The the fraudulent apps are kind of rampant. When you look on your search engine for a particular application that may not be in the Apple Store, usually it's wise to disregard the top one. And at the risk of hurting the feelings of the people behind SourceForge, SourceForge, in my opinion, has been a source of this kind of stuff for a long time. When you download some of this stuff, I'm sure that John and Kenji may be able to add to this, but you want to be sure you get the developer rather than some third party who's showcasing a bunch of software, because that sometimes comes with a little extra gift.
Yeah, indeed. Anyone else? Okay. So, not all the news for Apple is positive. Apple loses $14 billion in this Irish tax case brought on by the European Union. It's been going through their court system for really more than 10 years. And it will, the ruling's going to cost Apple perhaps $14.5 billion. It's not going to hurt them all that much immediately because the money has been held in escrow over the last 10 years anyway. So it's not money that they've been doing business with. But Apple says that, actually what the European Union has found was that Apple perhaps was getting special treatment related to uh, tax payment, and that they owe a lot of money too in taxes to Ireland. And uh, Apple's come back by saying that they've paid more than $20 billion in tax for the same profits. And so, it shouldn't be double taxed. So at any rate, um, that's where it stands. Any comments? Okay. John talked last week about how Apple's AirPods Pro are now going to have a hearing aid feature. It hasn't actually been put out for downloading or whatever, installing at this point. But within this past week, just a few days ago, the FDA went ahead and approved over-the-counter hearing aid software through, in this case, Apple's hearing aid feature. I'm really excited about this. I have a background working with deaf and hard of hearing in the schools for 33 years, and this could be a real boon to those who truly need amplification. Although at this point, the software will only be for mild to moderate hearing impairment, and really severe hearing impairment, that has the biggest impact on both young people and the elderly. At this point, it's not touching it, but it's a great start. Also, as you note in here, it says that the feature will debut later in the year, but you might want to go ahead if you want to try it out to get AirPods Pro 2, which currently are marked down about $50. So that's a pretty good deal.
That price may not last long. They may sell those out pretty quick when it gets enabled.
That's true because they have the AirPods Pro 4 coming out too.
One of the
No, it's AirPod 4. It's not the Pros.
One of the benefits of that hearing aid feature in the AirPods is that children are notoriously concerned about being different in their groups. And kids with a moderate hearing loss who might benefit from a hearing aid could be hounded in the playground as being different and bullied, whereas wearing AirPods could make a big difference because everybody wants to wear AirPods and they'd be considered cool instead. The only other thing I worry about is that with the schools banning cell phones and such now, they may want to ban AirPods in class. But I would think a parent could approach a teacher and say, look, these are being used as hearing aids to keep him from being bullied by other kids because he needs a hearing aid, or she. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Peter?
Well, I think that it's exciting that the technology has gotten to this point where it's even possible to produce meaningful amplification, which can be fine-tuned because there are no two hearing losses that are exactly identical. And the people who manufacture true hearing aids, it costs them quite a bit and they charge an immense amount. So even as it starts out right now, I think that it might be what Apple is selling would be 10% of what it would cost for something that might produce comparable impact. And I don't really know because there isn't a track record on how well these things actually work in the real world.
Well, I can tell you that the feature of it being able to be used to as a hearing aid already exists. It's called transparency mode. You turn it on, they're noise canceling ceiling, but it uses the microphone and you can hear. And I used to use that before I got my hearing aids. It actually sounds better than the hearing aids. What they're adding is the hearing test with the curve to be added to that. So the actual microphone and the hearing aid function, it already exists. called transparency mode.
Mhm.
Will AirPods work independent of the iPhone so that if in school the kids had to not carry their iPhones, they could still
Well,
use the AirPods?
they would work. I think the phone is required to do the hearing test and to apply the curve to the AirPods. I don't think, my guess is, after you do that, you don't need the iPhone unless you want to make an adjustment to them.
I believe you're right, John, from what I've read. So, of course, AirPods themselves might become an issue in the classroom if, all the kids suddenly have AirPods and some of
Yeah,
them.
how come Jack gets to have his AirPods
Yeah,
when the rest of us have to put them away?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Well,
the
I
possibility.
imagine educators will deal with it because it's way too important for those with hearing loss, and especially profound hearing loss.
Well,
Uh,
if they take away their iPhones, they won't have any source of music to listen to on the AirPods. So that, you know,
there you
but
go.
that means nobody will be wearing them except the people who are using them as hearing aids, so they'll kind of know what's going on.
Mhm. Jan, do you
I
have
was, I
So
was just, I was just thinking about the novelty of Apple being the most cost-effective solution for something.
that's kind of unbelievable,
Yeah. Well, and I imagine the technology is in its infancy right now, to make this work, and it's working evidently quite well. So I'm excited about what's possible as the technology improves.
But aren't there also a lot of over-the-counter hearing aids now that don't cost thousands of dollars that you order online and that they only cost several hundred?
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
still more expensive than most of them are up around, Sony and Bose have them. They're like $1,000.
Didn't you point out, John, last week that the only problem with them is going to be that the battery
The
um
batteries don't last as long as my hearing aids will last all day. At the meeting, these, although they're getting old, don't, I'm lucky to last 3 hours,
yeah,
or through Mac break, 3 hours, 4 hours max. The new one's supposed to last six. That's not all day. That's like
no,
hearing
that's
aids is
right.
like
Yeah.
all morning till I go to bed, and they still go.
Well, in the classroom, we constantly were helping kids, change their battery or something like that. If they were little kids, the older ones could do it on their
Well, the
own.
new ones are rechargeable. Like this is an AirPods case, and you pop them in here, and the case will hold 4 charges. So you can recharge them 4 times, and it'll charge up from dead to full in 15 minutes. And
If
then
you're
go for
showing
three
us
or
Excellent
four
something,
hours.
information,
John,
John.
we
Oh,
can't.
that's
If you're
great.
showing us something, John, we can't see you. Your video is off.
You can't see that? Oh, I have
No.
my video off. Excuse me.
Right.
Yeah, this is the case, and the AirPods stick in there. There's a light on the front one that tells you it's green, it's charged, orange, it's charging, and white, you push a button on the back to sync them. And then they start syncing. And these have a USB-C connector on the new ones. The old ones had a lightning connector.
Hmm. Yeah. I'll add one other thing and then we need to move on. But in my experience teaching, and I actually taught at elementary, intermediate, and high school level, but in all cases, the the other kids, despite whatever age they might be at, embraced the deaf kids. And in the early days, they had a hearing aid kind of thing, like wearing a bra with two big devices in them, one going to each ear. And, um, there was very seldom bullying going on about that in my experience. I hope it will continue to be that way.
Well, I
Good to
noticed
hear.
when I'm watching TV and I'm laying down in bed and I lean on my pillow or something, then it presses on, I get bone conduction. I can even do that. And then there are hearing aids that do bone conduction, right? That's what you're talking about?
What I'm talking about?
Right.
No, not really. I'm just talking about it being a social stigma
Oh, yeah.
for
Okay.
the hearing impaired kids to be wearing that kind of device.
Right.
Uh, you
But there
know,
is such a thing as bone conduction.
yes, indeed. In fact, many of them had hearing aids that worked with that.
Isn't
That's,
that
I
the
think,
one?
what's going on when I press this, like this, physically press it down. I think that's what I'm getting.
Mhm. Okay, well, let's move on for now. We'll have more time for comments later. The title of the article, J.D. Vance shouldn't open his mouth about Apple if he doesn't have a clue. Well, let's see what the article says. So you all know he's the vice presidential nominee for the Republican Party, and he accused Apple of using Chinese slave labor in terms of their production. You know, he did say, I put the quote here, do I think Apple is an evil company? No. Do I think that sometimes they benefit from Chinese slave labor? Yeah, and that's pretty sick. But there's nothing in the media records at all that indicate that Apple has been cozy with slave labor manufacturing their products. And Vance also said that I think a company that wants to benefit from American markets should also have to pay American workers a fair wage. Well, in May of 2022, Apple raised the starting wage for retail workforce to $22 an hour, which is a lot higher than minimum wage. So it's unfortunate. I wish that politics wasn't getting involved in some of this stuff, bad mouthing companies that don't deserve it. Any comments?
Do we know what I forget the name of the company, the main Apple manufacturer in China, what kind of wages they pay their workers and how that
Fox.
compares?
Foxconn.
Foxconn, yes.
I personally don't, although the quote by Mr. Vance was related to American wages.
Oh, it was?
I think so. Let me go
Oh,
back.
no, he's talking about Chinese manufacturers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Exactly.
believe, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I think that a company who wants to benefit from American markets should also have to pay American workers a fair wage.
Yeah, but he's saying, yeah, you should manufacture them here as opposed to using Chinese slave labor is his phrase. But he's saying that Foxconn is paying is slave wage labor, which it's not. I mean,
Well, two things. Apple is very concerned about this sort of thing and has attempted to and is attempting to move manufacturing to less controversial countries like India and Vietnam. And the second thing is I think Mr. Vance's comments are certainly a window into his psyche, and people can take what he says for its own value.
Okay, well, let's not get into the politics right now.
I don't think I did.
Yeah, let's move on, please.
yeah.
At any rate, yeah. Okay, so let's move on to this week's videos. Actually, John prints the video list on Sunday, and I got it to him late Saturday night. And it's now different because within the last 24 hours, after a month of nothing from Apple support, they produced 5 videos. And I really like these Apple support videos. They're really well produced, well done, very clear in what they're saying. So I've included 2 of them, 2 out of the 5. There'll probably be more now in the weeks to come. But at any rate, you can, if you haven't heard this spiel before, you can download a copy of the videos list here or the news list that we saw earlier on the BBS for DVMUG, and John probably has put them into the chat.
I just want to say I downloaded 18
and how to customize is on the phone after you download 18.
Excellent. Right. And okay, well, that's one that will be part of the list here. Let's start with the first one.
Apple Notes is one of those apps that just keeps getting better.
No
It's
sound.
slowly gaining features that moves it from a basic Notes app to a more power user Notes app, and it's managed to do all.
I'm stopping it for a moment. Was the sound missing?
No, it was good.
It was good.
Okay, John, I think it's working for everyone else.
It was also synced.
Okay, good. Okay, we'll go back to Rich's video. And this is on an iOS 18 piece.
Apple Notes is one of those apps that just keeps getting better. It's slowly gaining features that moves it from a basic Notes app to a more power user Notes app, and it's managed to do all of this without getting all garbled and complicated. In today's video, I cover 5 new iPad Notes features available in the iPad OS 18 release. Hi, my name is Rich. The goal of this channel is to make easy to follow videos on how to use your iPad and iPhone, without going nuts. Nothing complicated here. If that sounds like something you might find helpful, please consider subscribing because, subscribing here is probably cheaper than any other subscription you have, mainly because it's free. In today's video, we're going to cover Smart Scribe, which is a really cool feature that cleans up your handwriting, and Lord knows I need that. We're going to look at Math Notes, a handy place to keep track of numbers, audio recording and transcription, which is a very powerful tool you can probably use at your doctor's office. And then we're going to cover how to attach files to notes. We've always been able to do that, but now it's way easier to do it. And probably the best feature for me is collapsible sections, and then of course text highlighting. All right, let's get started. Okay, first up is a feature that Apple is calling Smart Scribe. It's just a way to clean up your handwriting. So let me show you what that looks like. We'll just go ahead and create a new note. And I'm using my Apple Pencil here. I'll choose that. And I'll make a note. And just look how this just transforms. A little bit cleaner right there. Show you again. And it'll just take that and then kind of clean it up. And it does it in a way that still looks sort of like your handwriting. I think this is just a great feature because my handwriting is just not all that good. I've gotten so used to typing over the years that I don't use handwriting like I used to when I was a kid. But I still like to write out notes with my Apple Pencil, and this is just a great way to clean them up. And this is called Smart Scribe. Okay, next up is Math Notes. If you look over here in the folder section, you've got a folder called Math Notes. iPad OS 18 comes with a calculator for the iPad. Finally, it hasn't had one all these years. And if we open up the calculator app, it just kind of looks like a giant calculator, but down here in the bottom corner, you see the little calculator icon, and if you tap on that, you can go to something called Math Notes, and now you just got a blank page, or maybe the latest note you've come up with. And if you just tap on this, you can create a new note, and you can put, 2 plus 2 equals, and then it will solve the calculation for you. And that's within the calculator app. But if you go back to the Notes app, and you go to Math Notes, you'll see that the note that I made in the calculator now shows up here. And this is just a great place to keep track of Math Notes. So if you create a new note, tap on that, and we'll choose our style, and we'll call this Shop Project. We'll put saw 500, drill 150, and we'll just put tools 200. We'll draw a line and it'll calculate for you the total amount of what you've put there. And these are the kind of notes that you might not need to keep around forever, but maybe you're just wanting to jot a few things down and keep track of some numbers, and that would fall in your Math Notes folder over here. Just a handy new feature that they've added that I think is going to help me a whole lot. The next really cool feature is audio recording, and you can now do that within a note, and it'll actually transcribe the audio recording for you. I can certainly see if you're a student and you want to use this on your iPhone in a class or something like that, it would be very helpful. For me, I think maybe I'll take it to my doctor's office when I've got some kind of important meeting or some other kind of important meeting that I want to keep track of, and then I can just record it. And I'll show you how to do that. So we'll just create a new note, and then we're going to go over to the little paperclip icon, and we'll tap on that. And we're going to choose record audio, and then we just hit the record button down here, and now it will begin recording my voice and any other voices that are a part of the conversation. And then after you're finished with that, it will transcribe that into written text, and it is a very handy little feature. Okay, so I'll stop that, and of course if I go back and I just want to listen to it, and now it will begin recording my voice and any other voices that are a part of it. And that's just a very handy little feature. And if you want to transcribe it, you can go up here to this little icon and tap on it. And now it will transcribe it. And if you play it, it will highlight the part that you're listening to. And now it will begin recording my voice and any other voices that are a part of the conversation. And then after you're finished with that, how handy is that? And when you're finished with it, you just click done, and now you've got the recording saved in your note. And if you want to share that with someone, you can do it. You can just tap on it, hold it, and tap share, and then you can send it out via messages, or you AirDrop, or you can save it to files on your iPad if you want to do that, as well as keeping it in your note. Just a handy new little feature. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is just how to attach files to notes. Sometimes I buy something and maybe I've scanned the manual into the Files app on the iPad, and maybe I want to put that in with a note or something like that, or maybe I've got some important document that I want to keep track of. My wife and I go to the beach a lot, and we get documents in for how we've made reservations, and so it would be kind of handy to add those in. And this is how you do that. I'm going to create a new note, and we'll call this vacation. And now I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to tap the little paperclip again, and I'm going to go to Attach File. It will take me to where I can add a file to it, and I'm just going to go to iCloud Drive, and maybe I'll add a Word document to it, and I'll just tap on that. And now I've added the document to my note. A very simple way to do it. Before, you used to have to open up the Files app and then drag it over and all that kind of stuff, and now you can simply add it by tapping the paperclip, choosing Attach File, and then going to your iCloud Drive or other locations that you have in the Files app and adding the attachment. Pretty simple. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is collapsible sections in an Apple Note. I think this is probably my favorite feature. It takes a long note and you can break it down into sections, and let me show you what I mean. We're going to create a new note, and we'll just call this Test Note. Then I'm going to create a heading here, and I'm going to go into the little A, big A, small a icon there, and I'm going to tap on Heading, and then I'll come back out and I'll say Apple Keyboard, and I've already copied some text that I'm going to paste here, so I'll just go right here and I'm going to paste. And now you can see that I've got text below the heading Apple Keyboard. What may be hard to see in this video is there's a very small little caret symbol right beside that, and if you tap on that little caret symbol, it will collapse the text. It will collapse the text just like that, and you can open it up and close it just like that. And that's going to be very handy. And you can add as many section headers as you want and put text underneath them. Okay, now I'm just going to show you how to highlight text. If we just choose some text, I'll just choose some right here. I'll tap on it and we'll highlight that. Then we'll come up to the A symbol again, and we're going to tap on that. We're going to choose highlight the color, and maybe we'll just choose orange. And now we've highlighted this text right here, and it just makes it stand out and a little bit easier to see. Another new feature that's coming in Apple Notes and iPad OS 18. Pretty cool. I love all these new features, and I didn't even get into the coming artificial intelligence yet. That'll be in another video. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you found these tips helpful. Let me know what you think of these new features in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
So, do we have any questions or comments? Okay.
I'm just wondering if whether those features will all work the same on the phone as well as the iPad. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, usually the two of them parallel pretty well, but time will tell.
You know, I don't, he was saying handwriting. What he was doing was not handwriting.
Printing, yeah, printing.
He was lettering, yeah, he was just putting letters down. I was wondering if it really converts handwriting, you know, like, but apparently that's what he's familiar with.
You mean cursive, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
What a lot of people call printing is really technically called lettering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's done by a machine.
Yeah.
I like the feature where you can record in notes and it'll transcribe it for you. That's have a lot of good possibilities.
Yeah.
But couldn't you always do that? I mean, just by clicking the microphone symbol on the keyboard?
Yeah, that works all the time. I use
and you can do voice
in mail.
But yeah, it seems like they're taking two apps and combining them and making it easier without coming up with a new one.
Okay, well let's move on. The next is one of these new Apple support videos on what is an Apple account, and probably most of you know what that is. We might have some users who aren't. We might have some people who haven't really gotten into setting up an account, but take a look at all that Apple shows can be done with this. Okay, and
what is an Apple account? Your Apple account is the account that you use to unlock your entire Apple universe. You can access your Apple account across all of your Apple devices when you sign in with your email address or phone number. So your information is wherever you need it, whenever you need it. So why do you need an Apple account? On all your Apple devices, you can sign into your Apple account to store and access your personal data in iCloud, like your saved passwords in the Passwords app, your photos in the Photos app, and your activity in the Fitness app. You can send unlimited messages to other Apple users using iMessage, and use FaceTime for video calls with everyone, including Android users. Your Apple account also lets you sign in to compatible apps and websites using Sign In with Apple. You can purchase apps and games in the App Store, books in Apple Books, and music in the iTunes Store. You can also stream Apple Music, watch Apple TV+, play Apple Arcade games. And if you ever lose a device, Find My can help you locate it. It's all your Apple services under one account. But what if you want to share your purchases and services with the people you care about? No problem. Thanks to Family Sharing, everyone can have their own Apple account and share eligible subscriptions, purchases, and more. Your Family Sharing group can even share iCloud Plus storage and features like Hide My Email and iCloud Private Relay. And when you use Find My with Family Sharing, if someone in your group loses their device, you can help them locate it, even if it's offline. Since everyone in your family sharing group has their own Apple account, you can share what you want to share while still keeping your account secure and private. Your Apple account is really important, so keeping it secure is really important too. Use a strong password. Don't reuse it anywhere else. And don't share it with anyone. With two-factor authentication, your information is encrypted and your data is secure, and no one else can sign in but you. And that's Apple account. One user, one password, one account for your Apple universe. To learn more about your Apple devices, subscribe to the Apple Support YouTube channel or click another video to keep watching.
Formerly known as your Apple ID.
Yeah.
They changed the name.
Oh, did anybody here use the FaceTime to Android without sending them email first with the link? Is there another way he's talking about? I mean, she was.
Never done that.
I
No.
tried one time, but they didn't want to pick up the link. And the only way I could do it was with a link.
Right. That's I thought maybe there was something new, but I guess the link is the only thing that I'm aware of.
And
okay.
can an Android person do video with you like FaceTime if you give them this link? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh,
That
how do you
works.
do that? How do you do that?
In FaceTime, if you have the person in your contacts and
Yes.
you want to do FaceTime video, you will be given a choice to send them a link via email or text, and they click on that link and magic happens and it works.
How do you get this link?
It's in FaceTime. You open FaceTime, and if
Oh,
you have Android people,
well, there's something to click that say they're going to be Android people, or you
correct.
first.
Well, it knows that the minute you send it, or it'll give
It's-
you a green message.
It somehow knows who's who, but it gives you the option to send them a link. And I've done that, but I thought he was speaking, or she was speaking of something different that they just came out. It's one of the new changes that are coming in.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next video. This one is with Gary, and he's talking about how to use the Music app on your Mac without subscribing to Apple Music. There are a lot of other ways people can get their music. They can purchase it from other vendors, Amazon, for example, or rip them from CDs, and might not really want to work with Apple Music, the app. But let's check out how Gary presents it.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Let me show you how you can use the Music app on your Mac without subscribing to Apple Music. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 2,000 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. Now, this is a question I often get and often see posted elsewhere online. I did a video about it several years ago, but the settings have changed a bit, so let's talk about it again. So there's an app on your Mac called Music, and there's also an Apple subscription service called Apple Music. They are two different things, but you use the Apple Music subscription service with the Music app. However, this confuses many people because it sometimes looks like you need to subscribe to Apple Music to use the Music app, but you don't. If you're not using the Apple Music subscription service, you can simply hide it in the Music app and continue to use the Music app as you did before with songs you purchased from the iTunes Store or songs you ripped from CDs. So when you run the Music app on your Mac, you'll probably see this first. It asks you to subscribe to the Apple Music service. So right away it looks like that's what you need to do. But if you look here in the left sidebar, you can see you're simply on the Apple Music homepage. You don't need to be on the Apple Music homepage. You can go down to Library and you can view your own artist, albums, and songs. So for instance, here I've got several artists, a bunch of albums, and the songs on them stored in my local library. I could just ignore this homepage here and simply go down to the items here in my library and then play that music. One point of confusion is when you try to search. So for instance, I'm going to try to search here, and when I look at the results, I'm going to see a ton of results, but none of them will work for me. They'll all ask me to subscribe to Apple Music. It'll even give me a message about that at the bottom. It seems like in order to play any music, I need to subscribe to Apple Music. But if you look carefully, you can see what's going on here. You've got 3 search modes here on the right: Your Library, Apple Music, and iTunes Store. And you're going to get results according to which one you have selected. So if you have Apple Music selected, it's going to give you Apple Music results. If you don't subscribe to Apple Music, you're basically just previewing what's there, what you could get if you do subscribe. But you could switch to Your Library and see the results that are in your library on your Mac and not in Apple Music. And anything here you can play just as normal. You could also switch to iTunes Store. This takes you to the iTunes Store that's been around long before Apple Music, where you can purchase individual songs or albums. So when searching, simply make sure you choose the one you want, probably Your Library if you're not using Apple Music, and it'll remember that choice. So from now on when you search, it'll just show you the results in your library, and you can play the songs as you would expect. But you can go a step further than this and actually get rid of Apple Music here from the sidebar and from search results by simply turning them off. The way to do that is to go to the Music menu and to Settings, and then select General. And here you're going to see Show, and you can turn off Apple Music. When you do that, you'll notice that those items are gone here from the left side. And then if you leave Search, if you were already in there, and go back to it, you'll notice you're just down to Your Library and iTunes Store. Apple Music will no longer be a choice for searching. You can also, by the way, turn off the iTunes Store. If you'd rather not see that as well, you can go back into Settings and turn off iTunes Store. Now note, you may not see the checkbox for Apple Music here if you are currently subscribed to Apple Music, even if it's just a free trial. It's not going to let you turn it off if you're actually using it. And now when you search, the only choice is to look in Your Library. You won't even get the choices over here because there's just Your Library available, not the iTunes Store, not Apple Music. Now, of course, if you're not using Apple Music, you may want to have the iTunes Store turned on so you can purchase music if that's the way you want to get your music. However, you can also rip music from CDs just as you could in the earliest versions of iTunes. That hasn't gone away either, even though there are a lot of people that say that it's not there. It certainly is there, but you're only going to find it if you actually have an optical drive plugged into your Mac. Macs haven't come with optical drives for a long time, so you have to get an external one, either Apple's or some other companies. Usually they're USB, and you plug that in. Notice without it plugged in, this is what Music Settings General looks like. But if I were to plug this drive into the USB port and then check in Music Settings, I can see there's a new setting here for when a CD is inserted. And you can set it to show the CD, play the CD, import the CD, import CD and eject, or ask to import CD, just like you could years ago. So when you leave it at ask to import CD, and then you take a CD and you insert it into this drive, you could see it's going to prompt you right away. In this case, it found 3 different albums that match this CD. I'll just pick the first one there, and then it's going to ask me for permission, and then it's going to ask me if I want to import this. It shows it here. If I say no, I can still get CD info or import CD. I can click the settings button here for more. I can click the edit button and edit the list. I can eject as well. So you have all the different options for ripping CDs into music that you've always had. Also, if you go into Music Settings and you go to Files, look for the Import Settings button. That allows you to determine how the music's encoded. So you can use the AAC encoder, which is probably what most people want, but you can go to, say, an MP3 encoder if maybe you plan to use the songs on some other device, like a car's MP3 player that only accepts these kinds of files. So there you go. That's how you can use the Music app on your Mac, just like you could years ago before the Apple Music service even existed. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know.
Jeez. Having a little trouble with my buttons. Anyhow, any comments?
So is that how old is this video? This isn't showing the Sequoia version of Apple Music, is it?
No, it was last week, so I don't know if it's changed, has it?
Yeah, I've heard some comments online. Well, in the Apple Breakfast, it mentioned that there were some outrage about major changes in the interface. Which
Photos is completely changed. I think
it's Photos. I'm sorry, it's Photos.
Yeah, people, that's
You're
a
right.
completely, the rewrite of Photos is completely different.
Okay,
I don't think
I'm
they
sorry.
changed music. I haven't heard anything about that.
I'm glad you can hide that Apple Music thing. I'm tired of dealing with that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, twice I've had my phone in my pocket and it turns out I've signed up for Apple Music. And every time I had to contact them, and it's like, a 70-year-old man's nipple should not be able to sign up for music. It just doesn't work that way.
Mine boosts up every time I get in the car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, folks, let's move on to the next video. Ellen is going to tell us how to get our iPhones ready for the iOS 18 update, which incidentally became available today. So
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Yep. Yesterday morning, 10 a.m.
All right. Well, I was late then by a day, but better late than never. Anyway, let's listen to Ellen.
iOS 18 will be released soon, and now is a good time to review the steps to make sure your iPhone is ready to update. Here's a step-by-step video guide to help you prepare for a smooth transition to the latest version of iOS. If we haven't met, I'm Ellen from Ellen's Tips for iOS.com, where I help seniors master their iPhones and iPads. If you find the video useful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. First, let's make sure that your iPhone can run the latest version of iOS. Now, you could go to Apple's website and locate that information, but I'm just going to drop in a screenshot from apple.com that lists all of the iPhones that can be updated to iOS 18. I'll also put in for iPadOS 18, I'll put the device compatibility list as well. So check those out. Make sure that your iPhone model is listed there. If you're still unsure, another way to check your iPhone model is to open the Settings app, tap on General, tap on About, and locate the model name. Once you locate the model name, you'll know what iPhone you have. Now you want to be sure that you have enough free space to install the update. You'll need around 10 gigabytes of free space for iOS 18, and here's how to check that. We'll open up Settings, we'll tap on General, and now we'll tap on iPhone Storage. And at the very top, you'll see the amount of space you have free and the amount of space that's on your iPhone. So I have 103.4 gigabytes left, which is plenty of space to install the update. But say you don't have enough space. Well, there are a couple of things you could do. You could delete old apps. So I'm going to swipe out of here, and to delete an app, you would just push and hold on it, tap on delete, and then confirm that you want to delete that app. You could also remove old photos or videos. So if I swipe out of here and I come into the Photos app and I tap on Select in the upper right corner, now I could select as many photos as I want to delete, and when I'm ready, I could tap the trash can. It'll ask you to confirm that, and you can go ahead and confirm that, and those videos or photos will be deleted. Another option is maybe you have too many text messages, so open the Messages app. You can swipe left on any message and tap on the trash can, and that message will be deleted. So those are a few ways that you can free up space on your iPhone. The next step, we need to make sure that you're backing up your iPhone. This ensures you won't lose any important information if something goes wrong during the update. And so to check that, again, we're going to open Settings. We're going to tap our name at the top. We're going to tap on iCloud and scroll till you see iCloud Backup. Tap on that. Make sure that you have these toggle switches turned on. You don't necessarily need backup over cellular, but make sure you have the toggle switch on that says backup this iPhone, and then tap Backup Now. Below that, you'll see the devices that have been backed up to iCloud, and you'll see how much space each of those devices is taking up in iCloud. Now we want to check app compatibility. Most apps will work with the new iOS, but some might not function until they're updated. So things like your bank or security apps, be sure to open these apps and look for any update notifications or check the website for compatibility information. Special apps. If you use any special apps like those from your workplace, contact the provider to ensure they will work with the new iOS. One thing you may want to do is hold off updating to the new iOS for a few weeks just to be sure that everything is compatible with your apps. You'll need to know your passwords, so be sure that you know your iPhone passcode and your Apple ID password to update or after you've updated. You want to make sure that you have these written down or saved somewhere safe. The iPhone passcode is the code that allows you to unlock your phone. Your Apple ID password, this is used for iCloud and the App Store. If you forget it, you can visit iforgot.apple.com to reset it. Just remember that those are the key to getting back into your device after the update. You'll need a fast, stable Wi-Fi connection for downloading the update. And here's how you want to check that. You can check your Wi-Fi speed by using a speed test app like Ookla's Speed Test to ensure you have a strong connection. For me to do that, I've opened the Speed Test app. I can tap on Go. It connects to my internet, and once it does, it's going to tell me what my download speed is, how fast it is, and in a few seconds, once it finishes this, it'll immediately go to the upload speed, and that'll show you what your Wi-Fi upload speed is. Another option you could have is update at night when fewer people are online so that you can avoid interruptions. Before updating, make sure your iPhone is charged. It needs at least 50% battery to install the update. Keep your charger handy. Plug your iPhone into a charger during the update to prevent it from running out of battery. And the last thing you'll want to do is possibly wait for reviews. Sometimes new updates have bugs. It's a good idea to wait a few days and check online reviews to see if others are having issues before you update. So another thing, just in case you aren't sure how you would do this update, you would open Settings, tap on General, and tap on Software Update. And once iOS 18 has been released, You'll see the option to update listed here. You'll tap on it and the update will be downloaded to your device, and then you'll install it. By following these detailed steps, you can ensure a smooth and hassle-free update to the latest iOS for your iPhone. If you run into any issues, don't hesitate to ask for help from a friend, family member, or Apple support. Good luck with your iOS 18 update. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
I got a comment about what she said about freeing up space by deleting messages and videos and photos. She was wrong.
Yeah.
You can delete them all. They just go into the trash for the 30 days. You have to empty the deleted messages and the deleted photos, or you don't save any space.
I never noticed her accent before, but she's got a Southern New Jersey accent.
Oh, yeah. I sure noticed her accent.
Well, wait, if you deleted a lot of pictures, won't they delete from the whole library?
The Photos app and the Messages app have 30-day trash cans.
Oh, yeah, but if you don't pay attention, they'll be gone.
You have to go look in the deleted messages and the deleted photos albums and empty them from there to clear up the space that you just dumped in there. Just like the Apple Mac desktop trash can and the email messages trash, and all those trashes hang out for 30 days.
Yeah. Sharon has a question. Sharon Fernandez.
Audio. Hi. Thank you. What was the space needed? She said something about 5, was it gigabytes?
She said 10 gigabytes. That's a lot.
Okay, yeah, because I'm still on 17.6.1 on my SE, and I didn't see an upgrade option or a update option, and it's 10.5.3. Does that get replaced when you supposedly
if you don't see in software update, if you don't see an update available, that means your phone isn't capable, probably.
Well, no, John, there's it was interesting because yesterday when I updated my iPhone 15, it automatically went to 17.6.1, and then when I scrolled down, it said, "But do you want to update to iOS 18?" And I said, "Yes."
Yes, mine too.
Scroll down. They give you 2 options.
Scroll
the
down
first
there's nothing to scroll down on my page. Wait, maybe I'm not looking the right screen.
Look at software update.
Your SE is the 2nd generation SE.
Yeah.
I don't think
not
you get
the
it.
newest, but that's it too. Okay, I'll check. Thanks.
But do the 17 point update. That's a security update. Do that. Absolutely.
Okay. What was the website for the speed test for the phone?
It's an app. You can get it from the App Store.
Okay.
It's called Speed Test, and it's by Okla.
Okla. Okay, great. Thanks.
That's OOKLA.
All right, great. Super.
Yeah.
That's also available on the Apple TV app, as an app. Check your Apple TV internet. Did you notice her internet speed?
Yeah,
she had over a gigabyte download, but her upload was way low, not symmetrical.
She's cable.
Yeah.
God, I wish I could get rid of cable.
Yeah, she was not on fiber symmetrical, not on AT&T fiber symmetrical.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next video, which is another Apple support one. This one's a little less than 2 minutes on how to customize the control center. And I was fascinated by all of the controls that they came up with. So let's try have a look.
Starting in iOS 18 and iPadOS 18, you can add groups to Control Center and resize and rearrange controls to customize it exactly how you want. Here's how. To start, we'll open Control Center by swiping down from the top right corner. Keep swiping to go to additional groups like Now Playing, Home, and Connectivity, and let go to open the current group. Now just swipe up or down between groups. To go directly to a specific group in Control Center, you can tap its icon along the right edge of the screen. We'll tap the heart to go back to Favorites. To start customizing Control Center, tap Add Controls in the top left. You can also touch and hold outside any of the controls to start customizing. Tap Add a Control at the bottom of the screen, and you can pick one of the recommendations, search for a control, or scroll down to see all the controls available in Control Gallery, including those from third-party apps. Let's tap Translate to add it to our Favorites group. Controls with a handle on the bottom right can be resized. Let's drag the handle on Flashlight to make it larger. You can also rearrange controls within Control Center just by dragging. We'll drag the Flashlight control to the bottom right corner of the screen. Now it's even easier to reach. You can also add more groups to Control Center by swiping past the last group you have. When you like the way you've arranged Control Center, just tap outside any of the controls. You can also swipe up from the bottom of the screen or press the Home button. Set up Control Center just the way you want it. To learn more about your iPhone, subscribe to the Apple Support YouTube channel or click another video to keep watching.
How about that? I haven't noticed those little icons on the right side of the screen.
It's only in 18.
It's on, yeah, just it's
Yeah,
new
it's
to
new.
me. I
I
just
did.
got 18. I guess it's new to everybody.
Yeah, I never saw them before.
Right. But it does give a lot more adjustability to the phone. That's
Supposedly you can add third-party things to this too.
Anyone else?
Mm-mm.
How are we doing? We've had quite a bit of feedback and comments and so forth. Are you up to another video, or do you want to move on to question and answers right now?
What's it on?
This video is on passkeys.
Yeah, save it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I thought we should have it now.
Okay, we have one vote each way. I myself find passkeys just a little bit challenging. I'm so used to passwords and so forth. I found it helpful, but
Hopefully somebody will do a video soon on the new password app. In 18, they broke out with a separate password app. You don't have to go into Finder settings or Safari preferences settings. It's an actual app.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to close up right now if that's the gist of how people feel. And it is 4:10, so that leaves us 50 minutes of our normal meeting time. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to stop sharing. And here
I
we
see there's not a separate passwords app in iPad OS 18. I think it's on the Mac in Sequoia. I haven't looked
No,
at
it's
it.
on everything.
Oh, really? Is an app on iOS 18? I don't see it. Oh, yes. Yes.
Should be there. It's on the phone. It's on the Mac. It should be on the iPad.
Oh, there it is. A typo. That's me. Oh, yeah. It's 3 little colored keys. I'm sure it looks the same on Sequoia. Same icon. Okay, we'll stop the recording. Anybody who's watching this on YouTube, DVMUG members can get the next portion of the Q&A meeting with the link on the DVMUG BBS. We'll see you there.